Hello everyone, in this video we will learn about components of I/O device, that is input and output device. So let us start with the components of I/O device, which are the different components of any input and output device. Each and every device having two different components. First one is mechanical component and second one is electronic component. If we consider mechanical component, then the device itself is nothing but a mechanical component. Let us take example of mouse. Suppose if we consider mouse, then this mouse itself is nothing but a mechanical component. Then after second one is electronic component. Then electronic component of a device is known as device controller, which will control your device itself. If we consider this keyboard, then this circuit that is present inside this keyboard is nothing but a device controller, which will control this device, that is keyboard. So these are the mainly two different components of any input output device. First one is mechanical component and second one is electronic component. Let us move further. What is device controller? That we have seen, that is electronic component, that is nothing but a device controller. So let us see what is device controller. That is an electronic component which control the device is nothing but a device controller. It may handle multiple devices. It may be possible that a device controller can handle more than one devices, and there may be a more than one controller per mechanical component. If we consider hard disk, that hard disk is having more than one device controller that will control that device. Now, what are the different tasks of controllers? First one is it convert your serial bit stream into the block of bytes. Means whatever the data that is there in this device is in the form of bit, or we can say serial of bit. So this device controller will convert the serial bit stream into the block of bytes by combining these bits. Second one is it performs error correction if necessary. If there is an error, then it performs the error correction if it is required. Then after, block of bytes is first assembled bit by bit in the buffer inside the controller. After verification, the block has been declared to be error free, and then it can be copied into the main memory. So once your data becomes error free, then and after then that block has to be copied into the main memory. So these are the various tasks of device controller. Next, move further. Memory mapped I/O. What is memory mapped I/O and how it is carried out? So first of all, what is memory mapped I/O? Each and every device controller is having few registers, and these registers are used for the communication with the CPU. And by writing into this register, the operating system can command the device to deliver data, accept data, switch itself on or off, or perform some other actions. And by reading from these register, operating system can learn, can find out what the device status is, whether it is prepared to accept a new command or not. There are mainly two ways to communicate with the control register and the device buffer. First one is I/O port and second one is memory mapped I/O. So here there are mainly two ways to communicate with control register. First one is I/O port and second one is memory map. Now let us see what is the difference between these two ways. So here we are just comparing both of these ways, I/O port and memory mapped I/O. So if we consider I/O port, then I/O port it uses different address space for memory and I/O device. If we consider this figure, then here this one is the devices and this one is nothing but a memory. So in this way, or we can say in I/O port, this memory as well as the I/O, both of these uses the different address space. This address space is used by device and this address space is used by the memory. So both of they are using the different address space. Whereas in memory mapped I/O, both memory as well as I/O devices uses the same address space to address memory as well as I/O device. So if we consider this figure, then IO device is also in this address space as well as your memory is also there in the same address space. So here same address space is used by memory as well as IO device. That is the main difference between IO port and memory map IO. Second difference is this, that is IO port uses a special class of CPU instruction to access IO device. Means if in this case, that is in IO port, a special instructions is used to access your IO device. Whereas in memory map, all the IO devices can be accessed by using the regular instruction, because both this memory as well as devices, or we can say IO devices, can use the same address space. So no need to use a special instruction to access any IO device. That is the difference between IO port and memory mapped IO. Thank you very much.